Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sabahul khair habibi wa habibti. Sabahul nur, sabahul ful, sabahul wards. Kif halakum? Alhamdulillah khair. Ahlan ya jamil wa jamila habibi wa habibti. Saffu thamin Ayyamil an. Al-an Yawmul Arbi'a October 7, 2020. Welcome back to Biology class with Mualimah Tuti Wardani Bako SPD. Naam, habibi wa habibti, are you ready? Yalla bina nabda'u nashat. Naam, habibi wa habibti, our topic today is plant tissue. The indicator of lesson for today are be able to identify of plant tissue and be able to identify the characteristic of plant tissue. And our scientific word is stimulation, rangsangan. Stimulation, rangsangan. Stimulation, rangsangan. Stimulation, rangsangan. Kaman marrah habibi wa habibti. Stimulation, rangsangan. Tayyib habibi wa habibti. Do you know why tree can bigger and taller? This is because the cells active to divide. These cells will gather, and if they have the same shape, structure, and function, will become a tissue. So, now the question is, what is the kinds tissue in plants? Naam, habibi wa habibti, have you ever think about how the plants eat and drink? Eating and drinking in plants is different from what humans and animals do, right? The food in plants is nutrition of mineral, and drinking is water, which is transport from the roots to the stems and leaves. Water and mineral are transported by a tissue. It's known as a transport tissue. So, habibi wa habibti, what is that transport tissue? Let's we discuss one by one, habibi wa habibti. Before we discuss about plant tissue, firstly, you should know what is that tissue. Tissue is a group of cells that have the same form and function. Habibi wa habibti, there are two kinds of tissue in plants. There are meristem and permanent tissue. The first, meristem tissue. Meristem tissue is a tissue that the cells are active to divide. This tissue is located at the tip of the root and the tip of the stem. This tissue can stretch, enlarge, and differentiate into other tissues when it grows. Habibi wa habibti, based on the location, the meristem tissue is divided into three parts. There are apical meristem, intercalary meristem, and lateral meristem. You can look at from the picture. The apical meristem in the tip, lateral meristem side, and intercalary meristem segment. The apical meristem is a meristem that is located at the end of organs such as stems and roots. This apical meristem functions to form apical shoots as the embryo of new tissue. The second, lateral meristem, is a meristem that functions for secondary growth, such as enlargement of roots and stems. That's why, habibi wa habibti, the lateral meristem located in the facial cambium and the cork cambium. And then the last, intercalary meristem, is a meristem that functions in the process of flowers formation. These meristems are located between permanent tissue. Next, habibi wa habibti, we are going to the second, permanent tissue. The cells that form the meristem tissue will differentiate to form permanent tissue. Now, after become a permanent tissue, the constituent cells will no longer grow and active to divide. Based on their function, permanent tissue are divided to 5 tissues. The first, epidermal tissue. Second, parenchyma tissue. Third, support tissue. Fourth, transport tissue. And the last, cork tissue. The first, epidermal tissue. Epidermal tissue is known as protective tissue. This is because this tissue is located on the outside, so it functions to cover and protect the surface and almost all plants, including roots, stems, fruits, flowers, and seeds. The characteristics of epidermal tissue are that the cells are shaped like blocks, only have one layer, do not contain chlorophyll except for guard cell in the stomata. The epidermal tissue can prevent excessive evaporation by forming a waterproof wax layer, or we call cuticle. The second, parenchyma tissue. Parenchyma tissue is also called basic tissue because it is formed by basic meristems. This tissue fills the space between tissue. This tissue is present in all parts of the plant body, such as stems, roots, and leaves. The parenchyma tissue in the leaves is the mesophyll, palisade, and spons, which contains a lot of chloroplast. The characteristic of parenchyma tissue are the cell is not thick, the cells are large and have many vacuoles, the cell walls are thin and have many intercellular cavities. Based on its function, parenchyma can be divided into parenchyma capable to photosynthesis, food storage, water storage, air storage, and transportation. We are going to support tissue. As the name, the support tissue functions as a reinforcement for plants to stand firm and strong. The walls are thick and will stop dividing when they reach growth. The support tissue consists of two types. There are collenchyma tissue is a tissue that thickening of cellulose and pectin at the corner of the wall. This tissue can be found in plant living cells that are still young and not yet woody. And sclerenchyma tissue is a tissue that the wall thickening of lignin or wood substance. That is, the cells that the sclerenchyma tissue are dead. The sclerenchyma tissue is divided into two based on the shape. Scleroid have the characteristic of dead cells, round shape, and withstands pressure because hard walls. The example is a coconut shell. And sclerenchyma fibers have the characteristic of long cells to form webbing and usually located on the surface of the stem. For example, banana leaf midrib. Next, transport tissue. For the first time, Molima has mentioned about this tissue, right? This transport tissue is related to the photosynthesis process. This is because all photosynthesis products will be passed to the entire plant body through this transport tissue. Transport tissue is a tissue that functions for the process of transportation substance in plants. Consists of xylem and phloem vessels. And what are xylem and phloem? Xylem are vessels that transport water and minerals from the soil through the roots to the leaves. And the phloem is a vessel that transport photosynthesis products from leaves to all surface of the plant's body. Nonetheless, cork tissue. Cork tissue is a tissue that composed of elongated cells that function to protect from too much water loss. Cork cells are usually found on the outer surface of the stem. Okay, Habibi wa Habibti, kifaya our lesson for today. Please study hard at home. Don't forget do your home project well. Shukron for your attention. Ila liko. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.